Welcome to the first episode of the AG podcast. We are a small group of friends. We're trying to build up a nice gaming community. We're starting by going over all of our love about gaming. We mainly play on Xbox, and a lot of the time we will be referring to the Tom Clancy games, mainly Rainbow Six Siege, and once released, fully Rainbow Six Quarantine. I'm Harry, and I'm joined today with Tyler and Harrison.
Hi.
Hello.
Yeah. I feel like that's a good enough intro. First thing I really want to get talking about is the most recent patch notes for Siege.
Which is year 4, season 4.3.
Yes. So, ADS changes. Feeling so far?
As a professional player, I have not really noticed any change. I have a little bit. That's also only because recently I learned how ADSing actually works.
Yes.
Which I did not previously know.
Yeah, I've noticed it quite a bit as well.
Yeah, you definitely will notice it on certain weapons, like the SMG sidearms for one, and then thanks to Ubisoft's error in the way before, Mozzie's Commando actually has no change whatsoever. It used to ADS at the speed of an AR, which is now what the new SMG speed up is. So, or slow down.
So it basically stays the same.
Yeah. The Commando 9 is now just overruling the P10.
P10.
Yeah, his P10 Rainy. Because the primary thing that you would play with the P10 for is if you slapped an angled grip on it, it was the fastest thing he had to aim with, which was really good. With the ADS changes, though, we've also got to mention Blackbeard and his kind of buff.
Yeah, his buff is really something.
It's pointless,
in
my opinion.
Like, it's just... it's like, what's the point in having Blackbeard if you're not going to use his shield? Because the thing is, the shield slows it down to about a standard operator's ADS. But without it, it just kind of removes it.
Any thoughts, Tyler?
I, as a professional player, have not noticed any ADS changes, really. I'll be honest, the first time I noticed it was, I think, doing Terrorist Hunter's Glaz, messing around, just trying to quick shot everything.
With a pistol as well.
Just trying to quick scope, both with the pistol and with his DMR.
The OTS-3.
And I noticed it a lot.
Yeah.
A lot more than I thought I would.
Yeah, it's one of those things, you hear about it like being 0.1, 0.2 seconds slower, and you're like, oh... It's
not
really
that much of a difference.
It's not really going to affect me. And then you start playing and you're like, why am I not aiming?
It's like, why is this so slow?
Why did my shot go there?
Yeah. Next one I want to talk about is Ella.
Or how they refer it in the patch notes. A little more princess, a little less novella.
Yeah.
Reduced recoil on the Scorpion Evo 3 for the first 16 shots.
Have you actually played with it?
I don't think I have. I have heard that it is... I don't remember who told me this, but it's broken on PC, I think.
Yeah, on PC, the 16 shot doesn't continue if you... like, it will work for the first 16 bullets of every clip, but if you let go of the trigger after those 16, it won't reset the 16 shot count. I don't know if it's been addressed yet. I don't play PC. But on console, there isn't even a 16-shot limit. It's broken either way.
Yeah, so regardless.
How is it broken on console, man?
It's like...
no recoil. Do you remember Ella when she first came out?
It's like pre-nerf.
Yeah, it's that sort of recoil. It's basically non-existent.
It's like nerf damage, but pre-recoil.
Yeah.
It's a tiny bit worse than it was on release.
Not really noticeable though, that's the thing.
No. If you've been able to play with Ella Scorpion whilst it was bad,
then
this is like a gift from the gods.
This
is like Ubisoft.
heavenly.
It's like Ubisoft just giving you a straight buff. Not even like Ella a buff, but you a buff. What about Finker? Because I know you play Finker quite a bit.
I like
here.
Finker.
Like
Alright,
Finker.
I'll leave this to Harrison actually, because I've not really played Finker much since
Really?
Yeah, Harrison's taken it.
I've been playing
Harrison's
Finker a lot.
Played her constantly,
Like,
and I've...
from her damage being 38 on the spear to 42 is a drastic change. Like, you have a look at the ARs on attack, so Jackals would be like his highest, and then looking at all the other ones, I think IQ's Commando is second in damage, and then
I think Capital has the highest damage, or did have
he did have the highest.
No,
damage,
no, I think he
but
still does. I think his gun is either just above 50 or just below 50 damage.
What on his AR?
On his power, yeah.
Yeah.
On the power 3.
I think it's about 48.
I thought, oh,
yeah,
actually,
just below 50.
So I'd say Finkus is top 5, but it's
Yeah,
still ridiculous.
It's gone from being one of the lowest time to kill guns to relatively
The fastest.
middle pack, high above average, like just
I'd say
above
high.
average, just above
Minor,
average.
yeah. Because if you add the Fink boost on top of that, it's
Yeah, that is true.
It's ridiculous. Like I was playing earlier, and it was stupid. I can't say much on that.
Going from
Good buff, though.
Finker, because obviously we've got the Finker buff, which makes the spear better, but another attack operator has also had quite a pretty good rework as of the patch notes as well with Ying. Have either of you played with the Candelas
Yes.
yet?
I haven't played with Ying for a long time, actually. And I've been on Glaz recently.
I haven't
so...
used it too much, but when I have, I have noticed the changes. They are extremely helpful.
Yeah.
It's a good buff.
And then, just to kind of close out the attackers right now, we've got the FMG9 buff.
Which is both.
I use shotgun
not-
on smoke, so
Yeah. What about Knock?
I don't play Nox so much. I probably
I
play
don't play her as
Warden.
much, but again, when I have used her, it's deadly. Like you wouldn't think it, but
I still feel like it's underwhelming for a gun. It's nullified a longer time to kill. Like it's now quicker on the time to kill, but it's still one of those guns where you use it, and it's just like it's still, because I'm at a relatively longer range than what you'd expect, I'm still having to shoot like half my mag.
all I can say is if you're more of a close quarters person, then I would recommend it. But I
If you're
wouldn't.
close quarters though, then shotgun.
That's true.
It just.
But if you prefer your SMGs to shotguns,
You've got the
I
SMG
feel like-
11 on.
yeah, there is. To be fair, there is
mean-
there's more choices than just picking.
Yeah, it benefits Nock because she has a deagle.
Yeah,
But-
I just feel like the FMG9 is only really good for people who can hit their shots consistently. Like if you're struggling to hit the headshot on that gun,
Yeah,
Yeah,
then
don't.
it's better off just playing.
so it
A
might as
different
well be an
operator.
MPX.
Yeah, you might as well have given Knock the MPX at this point.
Yeah, that's true.
Then with Smoke, I've seen a lot more FMG Smoke players, but that is in lower ranks than where
Then
you'd
higher up, yeah.
Like a lot of the time, I've been messing around in silver ranks because it's people that we play with that are down there, and it's just like, oh, why is everyone running the FMG? The shotgun in the SMG 11, it just works better because you can do sight setup and then you've still got a really good gun in your pocket.
Yeah,
Obviously, with the ADS changes, it's not as good. It nullifies if you play Smoke on more of a roaming role than if you play him on sight. But also with that, we can look at Maestro joining Jaeger, Bandit, Ash, just losing ACOGs all around.
Yeah, welcome to the non.
Yeah, the no ACOG club.
Yeah.
I mean,
Thing is, it doesn't make much difference if you already use the holographic sight.
yeah, but the thing
But for
about
the majority of players, though, they use the ACOG. So
a lot of people run Maestro because he had 2 cameras, bulletproof,
yeah,
can
Until
gather
shot.
intel, they can
Yeah.
see through smoke, with a 81 round mag, one of the highest damage weapons on defense in terms of time to kill, and an ACOG.
technically it still is. But
Plus-
the only thing they've kind of lost there is these ACOG, and it's a bit of a longer time to
Plus,
ADS.
he had impact grenades and the bailiff, which makes sight setup so easy. He can put his cams down prep face, and that's it. He doesn't have to do anything else. And you have an ACOG holding LMG. Like, on defense, I feel like the ACOG loss is good, personally. Whilst I feel like he should get a third weapon, lower time to kill, with ACOG still, for the 3 armor, I still feel like he's in a really good place. Even with, like, 1 times optics
He's still in a good position.
Yeah, he's still in
considering
a really good position.
he might not be able to hold long like the angles that he used to, but
Well,
he still has that setup.
That depends on the player, because some
That's
players
true.
can
Some
hold those
people can just
angles
use it with a holographic-
with iron sights.
That's true.
And anything to say about the Jaeger nerf? The
I mean-
damage reduction down 43 to 38.
There's not really much difference though, because he's still used like a lot with his gun.
There is a reason for it, though.
Yeah, because
Everybody knows how to play Jaeger, but Wamai is still very new, so it's like, oh, well, I can't just put all three of them down and then run off and do my thing.
Yeah.
It's a bit like, well, hold on a second.
It's basically like Defense Ash. You throw your things down, they're really helpful, and then you've got a
Just
really
run off.
good gun, you can run around kill.
Yeah, and
With Wamai, it's different because his is like he gets his regenerated like lesions
yeah,
equipment.
which I find really annoying because it's like people are still picking Jaeger because his gun at the standardized range, most encounters take place at about 10 meters away.
Mm-hmm.
It is still a 3-shot kill. It was a 3-shot kill. It still is a 3-shot kill. Why pick Wamai?
It's a good point.
Like, they need to do something different to nerf Jaeger. What makes Jaeger so powerful? He's got all of these AD. Maybe you need to change how his ADSs function. They've done it before.
Mm-hmm.
ADSs used to be able to take out Capital bolts, I believe. They used to be able to take out Habana pellets. So a good example of this is back before Clubhouse had a rework. If you shot Habana pellets at a certain angle, and all the ADSs were set up, you lose an entire set of Habana pellets. So if you're using 1 for hatch, 2 for wall, and then you go to get 2 on the wall, and lot of all your Habana pellets are taken out by ADSs,
Mm-hmm.
it's a bit like, oh. But it was also used to burn ADS systems.
Yeah.
So, like, you shoot your Habana pellets, that's all 3DSs now gone. You can now grenade to your heart's content. I feel like Wamai needs, probably, rather than Jaeger getting nerfed again, I feel like we need to give Wamai something a little bit extra.
Like a buff that will make him
A
more
little bit
picked.
faster time. Maybe an extra magnet and a faster time it takes to charge. Also, with Wamai, on that topic as well, like, his weaponry, I just see the AUG. I don't see anyone running the MP5.
I mean, I run it. I know Ash runs it sometimes.
Yeah, the MP5K is just so underpicked on Wamai. Like, maybe reconsider a different weapon. Maybe give him a shotgun, because I don't believe he has a shotgun.
That would be
No, I
interesting to
think
see him
so.
with a shotgun.
It might give him more versatility. Like, if we were to give him, let's say we keep the 2 primary weapons, and we get rid of the Keratos for the Bailiff. So he's got the shotgun pistol sidearm.
Instead of the
So he's got sight set up, good weaponry. Maybe keep his magnet system the same. It's just Jaeger is still going to be picked because people know how to play him. They've learnt the recoil for the gun. They know the ADS positions. They know where to put the
they've had
barbed
plenty of
wire.
time
And
to play him.
maybe take away Jaeger's barbed wire.
What would you replace it with?
Deployable shield, like he used to have. Bulletproof cam and deployable shield. Because then he's got to bring something which doesn't aid him on a roam. Because I've done this before. I've been off on a roam and I'm like, oh, hold on a second, I've still got my barbed wire. I'll put...
Yeah.
Yeah, you put it
There's
down
like-
for audio.
There's like 2 doorways that can get to me. I'll put barbed wire just outside the doorways. If they start to get broken, I know where they're coming from. And then I can just watch that angle. And it's a bit like... It's like, also with the barbed wire thing though, like, you take away his barbed wire, if Echo's not banned though, Echo can still help him, which moves us nicely onto the Echo nerf. Which I hate. I hate the fact that Echo got nerfed by buffing Dokubi.
Yeah, that was a massive downfall.
Looking
like-
at, just for a quick second, look at Dokubi's kit. DMR,
60 damage, I think.
2-shot
Headshot.
kill. I think it's a .133 for almost every single DMR to kill. Time to kill. 0.133 seconds. That's 2 shots, just done.
Yeah.
Then she's got the Boss G, highest damaging weapon in the entire game. Can 1-shot. Literally 1-shot. Then she's got the CZ, and the SMG-12, two of the highest time to kill weapons.
To be fair, more on that, SMGs did have the worst ADS change.
They did have the worst ADS change, but you've also got to look at it as the CZ classifies as a pistol.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it does. But then, to be fair,
Which is
that,
the better of the two usually, before the ADS change?
The CZ, it's
CZ.
the second fastest time to kill in the game, only being outbeaten by the SMG-11. And the CZ has a 27 clip mag. 27 rounds per clip. Like, that's insane. That, you could use one mag and kill everyone.
that ADS has kind of screwed Echo a little bit as well.
Yeah.
Well, especially with his Bearing 9, because Bearing 9 was used a lot as his secondary.
They did actually speak out about the ADS changes. The reason that they've nerfed the SMGs so hard was because they wanted to give people less of a, like, oh look, I have a pocket, like, I literally have a second primary weapon. And making it go, well, these now take longer to aim, which means if you're in a pinch, you might want to have the pistol on you.
Yeah, instead of the SMG in the back
Yeah.
pocket.
So, like,
It doesn't help that, like, Echo used to not get, like, called by Dokkaebi, but now he can. And on the plus note that when he dies and drops his phone, if Dokkaebi hacks his phone, she gets to control Echo drones as well.
which really annoys me.
And I don't mean as in just, like, look through them. I mean, she can actually use them like drones.
Can she?
I'm pretty sure she can.
I don't think she can. I think it just works as a camera like it would do if Echo died and his
Can you?
teammates were spectating.
Yeah, I've
So
not heard
that'd
of
be-
this.
Yeah, I believe... I don't think that she can move them around and stuff.
Well, that... See, that
That's
seems,
literally
that
what you
seems
just
pointless.
said.
Yeah. The thing is, I've been told that it has been possible. Not that I've seen it myself because I haven't been able to hack Echo. But again,
You probably
I don't know.
haven't
If that's the case, then it was a bit of a pointless buff because, like, you could technically already see Echo's drones if you
How?
hacked someone else's.
No.
Could you not?
Nope. Echo was immune to the phone calls and being camera hacked.
That's something
Echo
I probably didn't notice
Echo
then.
was the counter to Dokkaebi.
Yeah, that's probably not something I noticed then.
Echo was the counter to Dokkaebi, and now Dokkaebi has no counter apart from standing in a mute jammer. And then you've got to bring a mute. You have if you want to bring an Echo, you now have to bring a mute. And it's a bit like, well, hold on a second. They bring a Dokkaebi, they're probably bringing an IQ just in case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like-
So there's
You can't counter it anymore.
no ways to counter.
If a Dokkaebi comes in, let's say you're in a 2v2, right? You've got a friend who's roaming off site, you hear the plant going down, you go onto your Echo drone, your roamer, you've made the call out to your roamer, they're coming back to site, but you know you've got to push it off. Dokkaebi phones, you can't deny the plant goes down, they now have the advantage.
They also have your location as well.
Yeah, they've
which
also
means
got-
they can just watch the angle from
Yeah.
where you are.
They hear the phone ringing, they can shoot you from it. You know, Dokkaebi has become too powerful. I mean, we could have balanced Echo in a different way. Just looking at it, you could just go, okay, well, we've got lights on his drone to make it a little bit more noticeable. He's got cloaking only when Echo's on it. It only can stick to the ceiling when Echo's on it, you know. Personally, I feel like the second one would be the best one. It only cloaks if Echo is actually using the drone. Because it stays stuck to the ceiling, but you can see it. You can see where it is, unless he's on it.
Yeah, that's a massive nerf.
I mean,
Like, that would be a nerf to Echo, but without jeopardizing Dokkaebi counterplay.
what about if they made it that you have to... Say they have a Valkyrie, you have to hack the Valkyrie's phone to have her cameras, and
So
do
the-
that also with bulletproof cameras. You have to
So you have to
whoever put
hack
it down.
the certain person for
Yeah,
that.
who put it down.
That would work, but then that nerfs Dokkaebi and lessens her pick rate, which means that the buff that she got against Echo becomes null and void. Which means Echo is just as powerful as he was. Essentially, we didn't nerf
Yeah.
Echo. All we do is he gets phone calls, which isn't that much of a nerf. Because a lot of Echo players will just run off site anyways.
Yeah.
They'll wait for like a minute to pass, people will be pushing towards the site and they'll fuck off upstairs somewhere. I'm just going to go lie down. Like, Echo, where are you? We need you. Boom! And plant stop. You went around. And it's like, oh, Echo went to have a lie down and play some Candy Crush. Like,
Whatever
What about-
phone game that you guys play.
What about only one of the drones can be invisible at any time?
Maybe
Or-
give him the old droning system, where he
Or-
can only have one outlet at a time.
How about he has 2 drones, right?
Yeah.
2 types of drones. One that is invisible, maybe a bit faster, sticks to ceilings, but it doesn't shoot.
Okay.
And then the other one, which is more of an offensive one.
Yeah, but then how would you throw the 2 out separately? They'd both.
Yeah, they'd need to figure that out. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Because that is where one of the problems would come in for that.
Maybe do it that invisible one's the first one you always throw out.
Yeah.
Because that would be probably close to sight anyway.
On Echo though, his ban rate still absurdly high in Pro League. And with SI starting tomorrow, I feel like we should go over it though.
Mhm.
Well, as a professional player,
as someone who doesn't watch Pro League, you probably can't say much about this.
yeah.
Which means this is more of a topic for me because I'm insanely into the Pro League side of Siege.
I watch it, but I don't watch it as much as you do. And I've only just started getting into it properly.
No. We've currently got a
Time
$3
aside.
million prize pool, which can still increase during the course of the event until the final match is played. I believe it's everything like Pro League skins, pilot program skins and stuff, all of that. It just contributes towards...
Yeah.
As
the
was said
prize
in
pool.
Playday.
It just keeps getting bigger until it's over. And then whatever is at the end, that's the
distributed,
prize
yeah.
pool.
But
Um,
at the current place of the spread of the 3 million, even though it will be rising, is first gets 1 million, second place gets 240k, third 270k, and then fourth 200k.
Yeah.
It's still pretty big at this moment in time.
Yeah, it's the biggest event that Siege has had. I believe that they've got one of the biggest stages that we'll have had. Like normal, the Invitational is being held in Montreal, where their headquarters and stuff is for the game. And we did get announced the 16 teams earlier. Well, not earlier today, but I think it was towards the back end of January. Beginning of Feb, we got the teams announced. We've got Empire, Dark Zero, FaZe Clan, and Fnatic, all Group A. Group B, we've got Na'Vi, Rogue, TSM, and Space Station. Group C, Giants, NIP, Liquid, and MIBR. And then for Group D, we've got Rec, Wildcard, BDS, and G2, who were the invite team. Surprise.
Yeah, surprise.
If you look at it, it's literally just, hey, let's get as much fans in to make as much money from viewership and everything as possible.
Yeah.
Let's invite the biggest team in the world for this event.
And now for our sponsor.
Now for our sponsor, G2 Esports. But no, it's like they've won the 6-inch Invitational twice out of the 3 times. The first one they weren't even present for, and then the other 2 they've won. Setting a record for the most rounds in one map at 22 in the most recent 6 Invitational, and they didn't actually qualify for this one. So
No, they didn't. They lost the majority of their matches, didn't they?
yeah, they were in the qualifiers for it and didn't make it through. They didn't make it to any of the events to win, to be able to get to here. So they got invited, and I'm not sure on them as of right now. But group predictions from me personally, I feel like we're going to be seeing Empire and FaZe coming out of Group A, TSM and Rogue coming out of Group B, Liquid and NIP coming out of Group C, and then Group D's just, I'm not too sure. We could see Wildcard come out because they've been playing really well.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I've seen Reciprocity as well, so that one's going to be a bit of a...
My thing about Rec is that they recently did big roster change, and they're still trying to get together with the new roster properly. They're not doing too well in Pro League at the moment. I think they've lost more than they won. So going up against international-based teams, they might not be ready for it. I reckon G2 will probably show us that they're still a good LAN team, but they literally made a roster change like 2-3 play days ago. They got rid of Cryan for Cerbos, so there's like maybe a week or 2 worth of practice and strats.
For him, yeah.
It's like, okay, we get it. Cryan wasn't working too well. He wasn't performing the way you want him to be. But that's what happens when you take a fragger and try to put him on a support role. It's not how it works out, you know.
Like if they kept them
From
on
a
the fragment role,
from
then
a
yeah.
primary fragger to a primary support. It's a bit
It's a bit of a hefty change.
yeah, and Crying's a good player, don't get me wrong, but he wasn't performing as good as he could. So they've benched him and loaned Sir Boss from the Penta roster.
Ooh.
But only until SA is done. So for the second half of Pro League, Season 11 I believe we're now in, we will not see Sir Boss on G2. We might see another player, we might see Crying return, we don't actually know.
No, at this moment in time. I will agree that on Group A, Empire and FaZe will come out on top. I was thinking Natus, Envy, and Team Solomid, but
Na'Vi have been underperforming since they won Season 10. They come out of Season 10, they've entered Season 11, and I think they've like maybe won 1 or 2 matches, drawn 1, and then lost everything else.
see, I haven't
They are
seen
having
much,
a
but like,
really bad season.
I've seen like them win and draw, but I haven't seen the rest of it, so that's probably why.
Yeah, TSM, I believe, are currently top of NA as of right now.
I was gonna say they've not lost a match yet, have
I
they?
think
They've had a draw.
I think they're
but-
going 6-1-0. Yeah.
Yeah, they had a draw against Resi, but they didn't like. They haven't really lost.
No, but the thing about Space Station is they've been looking really good in the best of ones when they normally don't. SSG have been a best of 3 team for so long, or a team that is either losing or tying their matches in best of ones. So for them to be getting wins
for SS though, because I mean, obviously LAN and I think online are completely different.
Yeah,
so,
and SSG won the most recent US Nationals.
Yeah, so
but I
Again,
believe
it can
they had
go
to beat
either
out
way,
TSM for
but,
the USN
yeah.
title. It was a really good event, and if you haven't seen the final match, I'd recommend going and watching it, because it was SSG versus Rec. Really good match. But I don't like the way that Group C looks. At least, we're guaranteed 1 Latin America team to come out
that's true.
from the group stages. You can't have 3 Latin America teams in Group C and have only not have one of them come out of the 2 teams. But if I'm not mistaken, Giants have
I've not seen much of
got
Giants.
a different roster now, because they were Vodafone Giants, and then Rogue picked up Vodafone Giants roster right as the season began, because they disbanded their North American team. But NIP have been looking pretty good so far, and maybe have been looking pretty dull this season compared to some of their previous seasons. Liquid, well,
I've seen MIBR has had his bad days.
yeah, MLB have, and Liquid have been one of those teams that are kind of above average in Latin America anyways. But it's just really Group D that is confusing. I'm not sure, because BDS does better if Shaiko's performing. If Shaiko doesn't show up, they might lose.
Yeah.
Shaiko is their star player. He's got insane game sense and knowledge.
He's basically their carry at that point. I mean, don't get me wrong, they can all perform well, but if they have to rely on someone, it's Shaiko.
Yeah, if Shaiko's not fragging out, I believe it's up to Panics, really, to pick that up. Let me just double check that I've got the right roster. Yeah, it's not Panics, it was... so we got Shaiko, and then if he's not performing, then it's RXWD steps up. Alem's used to be on Team Secret, is a good player, but he's more flex than anything, from what I've seen. And then we've got Renshiro, one of the oldest Blackbeard players that I can recall, before the SR25 got nerfed. Now that's going back.
That's going
That's
way
going
back.
way before the SR25 got nerfed. He would sit there, Blackbeard shield, ready, hold an angle, dead, dead, and he would easily break double digits almost every game, just holding angles with Blackbeard. And this was when his shield was worse than it is now as well. Which is saying something. And then we've got Rafale, who I've seen at points perform, but I just feel like if they're gonna make it out of Group D, everyone needs to show up. Because from what I saw at Wildcard Season 10 finals, they're hungry. And they're ready to eat people alive. They are ready to go out with a bang and just start murdering people, basically. There's not really much else to go on with it. I feel like I've said my piece
I understood some of those names.
I feel like I've said my piece with SI. Personally, for me, I would love to see Empire win it. I'd love to see a G2 Empire final.
I would love to see either a G2 Empire or an Empire or like an Empire G2 Solomid. That's it. I was gonna say,
I feel like if TSM,
because TSM's gonna end up eventually
I feel like
taking on them earlier.
If FaZe plays against TSM, they might be able to make it through, but if TSM plays Empire in the early days, they're out. Empire have been performing really well this season, and they perform so much better on LAN than they do online. And they're one of like the 2 teams, I believe, that have beaten G2 in every major tournament. They are one of the few teams that have actually outplayed G2, and to a point where you look at the score from some of the matches and you go,
goodness me.
Oh, Jesus, I thought these teams were quite evenly matched. Like, they took it to 22 rounds on Coastline the first time that they played against G2 properly in our finals. And then they didn't even have to use overtime the next time they played on Coastline.
Damn.
Yeah, it was
like you look at it and you just go, Empire, obviously they have lost Shockwave, and he's playing for Force. That happened a while back, but the team's still trying to find that kind of, like, happy ground. I guess they're trying so many different role changes, and you just look at it and you're maybe if they kind of changed around a little bit more, they'd find that sweet spot.
Yeah,
because Joystick used to be one of those players that he'd come in on Ashe, he'd come in on Jaeger, and he'd just click your head. He would just click your head, and that was it. But no, I'm happy with that. I feel like Empire might take it. I'd love to see G2 face Empire in the finals, have Coastline in there again with the unlimited overtime, repeat last year, and just see Empire reverse sweep it. I would love to see that. On the topic of Siege right now, though, Year 5, we've got that coming up. Obviously, SI, we're going to get everything revealed to us. We've got 2-hour-long panels, which, yeah... We've got one for next season and one for Year 5. An hour-long reveal for one season, well, an hour-long panel, just for a season. We normally get 20-minute, half-hour session.
I was going to say, half an hour.
And we've got 2-hour-long ones. I think last Invitational, it was season reveal and Year 4 roadmap, all bunged into about 40 minutes.
Yeah, they didn't waste much time on it.
So, first thing I want to say about the Year 5 is we have rumoured Tachanka rework.
Yes.
Where his primary weapon will be his LMG.
That will be interesting to see.
Is that leaked?
That is currently in leak. We have no sort of formal source on it yet, though. Which is where the problem comes in.
What will his power be then? Like, bipod it?
I don't actually know. There's rumours saying that he might have special rounds that he puts into it. It might be a bipod. It might be something that we're not used to. It might be something because we're looking at a full rework.
Yeah.
Think about if Tachanka got the Hereford base treatment. But no, what would you guys want to see from Year 5? If they continued with the map reworks and buffs, what other maps you guys would like to see?
House.
You want to see House?
I don't know. I know it's a bit of a me. I really like House as a map. I think they could do something cool with it, maybe.
Yeah,
if they did a
I agree with
genuine
you on that.
rework.
I feel like if they took House and went, oh, well, we've got really good potential for this map. We extend it out a little bit. We change how the floors are. We change the
I'd
layout.
say an attic.
I would say you'd need to take that map apart and rebuild it. But keep the idea behind it. It is a house.
Keep the outside.
Yeah.
I like that ocean
I would
view.
say they'd need to fix garage as well. If they were going to do that, they'd have to have it so one of the garages is indestructible. Like one part of the garage is indestructible.
Or either that or two doors, so it's 4 reinforcements instead of 5. Would that work, do you think?
Yeah, but then you'd also... I reckon what you could really do is... you know how on Yacht you have that back end, which is 2 reinforcements, but then it's also just like a small room.
Yeah.
If you had something like that you could get in towards garage with, rather than having the garage panels,
Yeah.
I feel like that might work.
Then would it still be a garage?
Well, yeah, because you just make it the metal.
Alright.
Personally, I feel like we could really use with some map buffs. Just for a start, every fucking spawn on bank.
Yeah, I agree. Literally every
spawn can be spawn peaked.
Yeah,
you can spawn
it's really
peak.
easy to do it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, other maps that need elaborate, scheming and plotting.
Yeah,
and...
you need to know the position, the timing.
On bank could be good.
Yeah, a map buff on bank. Maybe change how the lobby works a little bit. Because
lobby is open.
Yeah, but that's what makes it so good. I'm feeling like maybe fix banana right at the top, so that rather than having the gaps like the pretty metal patterns, it's a bank. Make it solid.
Yeah.
Yeah, like why would you have?
It's just one of those things, though. Another thing I'd really, really like to see is if you go back through old maps, I want to see Chalet fixed.
I don't like Chalet at all. I don't think I've ever liked it.
That's the point. It's like it's not favourable for newer players, yet it's one of those maps that it's like, oh yeah, it's easy to learn. It's easy to get killed on as well.
It is very easy
There's
to get killed
so
on.
many angles. Chalet, for me, needs to be fixed in such a sense that every site is viable, and it's not like, oh, we have to go kitchen, or oh, we have to go to the basement. Bar, when do you see bar getting played?
You don't see bar very much.
And if you see a top floor defense, you've got probably 4 ACOGs.
Yeah.
That are all looking out from different angles, and it's like, well, how are you meant to get towards the building? You've got one looking out towards the little rock that you can stand on. You've got one staring out towards the camera. You've got one looking out towards K9 balcony, and then you've got one which is watching towards library. You cannot get in. And then if you come from the bottom floor, there's cameras fucking everywhere. You can't enter through the lobby. If you enter from the garage, you've got to go up the stairs. It is so risky to move around the map.
Even garage defense, you blow open the garage, and you just tabana the wall. You got both sides.
Exactly. It just needs a bit of a fix.
And those wheelie bins.
Yeah, I feel like we could potentially get a new map. I feel like Skyscraper needs a full rework though.
Yeah. I
don't feel like just fixing a few things in it is going to do it great justice. I feel like you need to just take the map apart, keep the aesthetic. The aesthetic is nice.
Yeah.
But fix it. Make it so it's tough to spawn peak. Make it so that the runouts are risky. Make it so that spawns are safe. Like, you don't have to be like, oh, I can't spawn there because I could get spawn peak. Like, so far, you will spawn vents because it is literally the safest place to spawn. And there's spawn peaks for it. Like, it's so bad. The interior is so many corners. Maybe a bit less corners, more rooms.
Yeah.
You got the little connector where Dragon is for the defenders, which is door, window, 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 door. And it's like, well, hold on a second. Why is there 5 potential entries for attackers? Not to mention the 2 doors for the inside of the building. That's 7 places that you could get shot from, just in that one room. How are you meant to check all 7 angles? Sure, maybe it's 6 because you're coming from one of those directions. But let's say you've still got to check 6 angles just to make sure you're safe to move through. That, for me, it's like Geisha as well. It's like, if somebody's bandit tricking well, you can't get in. And that's the primary way to push towards T-Room and Party.
Yeah.
Which for me just goes, giant F you to whoever's trying to play. I just find it a bit annoying, that's all. For me, probably last map, I would probably say plane. I'd want to see plane get fixed.
Yeah, plane's been out for
It's one of the original maps. Rainbow as magic on it was fine, but it's just...
Actually, Glass can still shoot through those windows, can't he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so can Cali.
Yeah, I was going to say, can't Cali
Yeah,
do that?
Cali can do the
Cali
same
can do
as-
it. And she makes bigger holes as well.
Yeah.
But for me, Plane is quite
Plane
an
is like
iconic
the-
map for
I was gonna
Siege.
say, Plane's
Yeah.
the original map that hasn't been like reworked or buffed yet, is it?
No,
So-
because we've also got things like, funny enough, Chalet.
yeah, that's true.
Consulate had a minor buff, but it's nothing like big.
I was gonna say not too
Bank
noticeable.
that we've spoken about, you know,
Mm.
there's House. All of these kind of maps, they're all from original release. That just haven't been touched. And it's just a bit like, I look at it and I go, well, hold on a second. If we could fix Plane, not for ranked, not for unranked, but for quick matches, I would be more enticed into playing just for a bit of fun. Because I play unranked and ranked because the maps are more balanced and fair. And I know if I spawn, then I'm not going to get the chunker spawn peeking me from a staircase. I know I'm not going to get instantly blown up by a C4 coming down the stairs. I know I'm not going to get run out on by some guy as I'm climbing a ladder. Like, all your entries can be countered. And that's where the problem comes in. You can't get in the plane without dying.
Yeah.
Which means you can't get in the plane.
I feel like it would also be difficult to change the rooms up too much because it has. Well, it's a plane. You can't just replace it with anything.
Why keep it as a presidential plane?
Uh,
Why not make a cargo holder?
that's a good point, actually.
Why do we have to stick to...
Just remove the plane, brand new plane.
Well, yeah, but keep the idea behind the map that, you know, it's being used as some form of transportation. It's not like, you know, because there's some planes which have cargo holds as well as, like, obviously we've got the underground part, but we've got, like, a tiny, like, box room
I was
for
gonna say, 'cause
cargo.
the cargo
Yeah.
room isn't even really
It-
a cargo room.
Now imagine if you had a Jeep, like, tank or something that you could use as, like, cover. And then in, like, the next room over, you've got a luggage storage.
Have a maze of boxes.
Like, and then you go up the stairs and you've got, because I know some planes have it, you've got your first class, your second class, and everything. But make it damaged, like somebody has tried to tear up the place. You know? And then you've got enough time to balance out the sights, you've got the cockpit. It could work so well.
Also, how about seats that you can remove? Like,
In what sense?
alright, if they do seats that are small enough, I don't know how plane seats work exactly.
No.
I've never been on a plane, but I don't know, C4, impact grenades, maybe
Oh,
destroy
like-
some of
like
them.
some of the,
yeah,
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 destructible.
so you can
Yeah.
create more of your own environment on both sides.
Yeah, so you've got more setup available
Yeah.
for it, yeah. That actually works. I mean, other than that, I would just like to see some operator... Obviously, I'd like to see the Chanka rework. And then I'd like to have a look at the pick rate for the ops. 1 second whilst I pull that up. Because I believe I can find that. But you look at the defense and the attackers and it's like, well, hold on, if the Chunker's getting a rework, why don't we have a look at some of the wind outers for the others?
See, my thought for presidential plane before I played it, I would have thought it'd be like it'd be like kind of a two-story plane, like, you know, because you get one floor
Yeah.
for passengers, and then you get like another one which is like kind of first-class passengers, you know, those types of planes. Because I know that they're you get like those types of planes in missions in other video games, and I was like, well, you know, that could be like a rework.
Yeah.
Like have more than just like the first floor than the bottom floor.
Going back to the Chunker rework for Year 5, I would the lowest wind delta / presence and everything is Castle. I feel like Castle
that-
could be reworked a little bit or buffed in such a sense. You know, what does Castle actually bring to the table? A barricade,
Yeah, it brings a castle
Yeah.
barricade,
which
but-
means if you're running any sort of soft destruction, oh, would you look at that? He's pointless. The
It's-
UMP isn't great.
To be fair, it opens up more, and you can play it as in.
If you've got a 5-stack, Castle can be a lifesaver. If you're solo queuing, he could be the death of you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a
You
good
need
point.
to make him more versatile and less like I'm gonna
Stat
mess up. Like,
reliable.
you need to make him so it's not all communication based. Because let's be honest, when you play Xbox, who's actually communicating in
let's
solo
be honest, who
queues?
really
Yeah.
talks?
You talk to your stack if you're stacking. If not, you just sit there quietly screaming at your TV because people are blocking you in with Castle.
Well, they're doing something stupid.
You just look at it and it's like, oh, well, that's a bit annoying because I wanted to rotate there. I mean, you could make him a little bit better. You could. This is not my own personal idea. This is something I saw from IcyCat, a YouTuber that does a lot of different talks about Siege. You can have damage states of the castle barricade, so you can tell when it's been prepped or damaged.
Yeah.
Have 3-4 different states of different like cracks in the actual barricade. You could put little fencing on the bottom so drones can't go underneath it. Gives you another form of drone denial.
Yeah, that'd be really good actually.
That would give him more of a reason to be played.
That would make his pick rate go up, but you don't have to touch his guns. Whereas if you wanted to buff him through his guns, you've got to indirectly buff Pulse as well.
Yeah, and Pulse is already fine as he is.
Pulse is okay. I believe his pick to win is pretty good. Yeah, he's nearly right in the centre point where they want him to be. He's just not picked as much as they want him to be, but his win rate is basically there.
Yeah.
And it's just, you look at the charts and it's just like, Jaeger definitely needed a nerf.
Yeah.
Jaeger had over a 90% presence rate. So for every 100 rounds that you played, he was there for about 93 of them.
Which is a lot. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Every 9 out of your 10 rounds, there's a Jaeger. Whether you're attacking or defending, every 9 rounds you see a Jaeger.
Like, it's still the same even now. Like,
Feels a lot more than that now.
What I don't get is, I've noticed that Jaeger players have become more into Jaeger since he's been nerfed. And I don't know why. I'm seeing more and more Jaeger players.
Jaeger since his nerf.
Yeah. It's like they think he's got reduced recoil because of damage or whatever, but it's just like he's the same op, he's just weaker at range. That's where the problem comes in.
Do you think it's maybe because Wamai came out and they look at Wamai think, yeah, Jaeger's a bit better, his ability does more?
Yeah, but once again, we've also got Ash going off on the charts. Nearly 60% pick rate with a 1% win delta, which essentially means that she's winning one, like for every round that she wins, she's winning another one, I believe it is, or like for every match that she's present in, there's, rather than being perfectly on like 1 win, 1 loss, she's 2 wins, 1 loss, 2 wins, 1 loss, 2 wins, 1 loss, 2 wins, 1 loss, and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
Finca, however, again, really good on the win delta, which is weird because she's been one of the biggest in win deltas whenever she's brought, but she's not brought at all. So, you know.
I was going to say, out of like the massive community, she's not brought very often.
Yeah, it's other ops that are a bit out there still. Presence, also, just so you know, it's not necessarily every single round, it's also ban rate is taken into account on that. But we've got Jackal is the most present attacker. So what could you do about Jackal? Like, he's already been reworked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His footprints now have 3 if they're fresh, 2 scans if they're not so fresh, and if they're old footprints, you get pinged once. It's like a drone spotted you.
I mean,
it doesn't help with the whole, like the whole fixing his scanning as well in the recent patch as well.
This is more of, well, it's not really a buff for Cav, but well, I guess it's an example of the way they could take it. If Cav uses a silent step ability, she doesn't make footprints, maybe.
I think that's how she works anyways.
Oh.
Also, if she's in silent step when you scan her footprint, it doesn't scan her. I know that's one that happens. But anyways, I feel like that is enough about Siege, and we should probably talk about Quarantine for a little bit because we did get a leak.
Yeah.
Well, potential leak. Thoughts and feelings on Quarantine as of right now? Excited, not excited? I feel like a TV show host right now.
I'm not really sure, to be honest, because I guess, see, we've already technically played not exactly the demo or the trial, but we kind of have.
We played the alpha, essentially.
Played the alpha because it was originally Outbreak for an event, and then they've decided.
Yeah, but that was 2 years ago.
That is true. it doesn't feel like a long time, but it is.
Yeah.
You said I feel like it was fucking ages ago.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, it's a mode which, at the time, I wish they'd done a lot more with it, but now I kind of wished it was still available over time, but I think that's more just because, you get bored every once in a while. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, I remember that thing. So...
And you wish you could go back to it, but...
Yeah, but I don't know if, we could suddenly play it. It would, suddenly have all of its problems show up again or not.
That is true. I personally, I'm quite excited for it because whilst the Outbreak event was a bit dull, in my personal opinion, it was a bit like, great fun, but I'm playing Siege for a reason.
Yeah.
Quarantine is essentially what we would want from a PvE Rainbow Six game.
Yeah.
Sure, we've had Vegas and stuff before, but this is essentially their spin on a post-apocalyptic event scenario. All the operators we know I love them from Siege. I believe it's meant to be set 2 years after the events of Outbreak, which makes sense. It's about 2 years on from now anyways. So,
which makes sense.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of, they released a gameplay loop. If this is a true leak, there's a gameplay loop which you can follow. Essentially, it's just, you start your mission, you pick your operators, you complete your mission, you die, whatever, and it just keeps going around in a certain loop, depending on what event happens, depending on what option you take. But eventually you'll get back around to mission start.
Yeah.
At some point. I mean, I don't really have too much to say on Quarantine. There's basically no info out there.
I mean, we have an E3 trailer.
Yeah, that's
we have a CG.
We have a E3 trailer.
We know that
And we
there's going to
have
be
a
Siege
bit-
operators,
And we have potential leaks.
but other than that...
I think one thing that would be really cool is, I mean, we were talking about this earlier before the podcast, the possibility of bringing in operators that are in this game first.
Yeah.
I think it'd be really interesting and cool from... I mean, this isn't like Siege necessarily, but they could do an MCU sort of thing where you have things happen in each game and they kind of cross over in their own way. But because it's already Siege operators and stuff, it could be in a much more meaningful way, and you could tie in each game's story to an extent.
See, that's a really good idea, but what is the story in Siege?
Simulations, nanomachines.
Yeah, we've got the operator bios for the lore and everything, and the background, but we don't really have much story, which is where I would want.
But I guess you could flesh
this
out
to go.
You could flesh out a lot of those bios in Quarantine.
Yeah,
This could be basically the single player Siege, I think.
this is what I'm hoping for.
But zombies.
It's Siege, and this is essentially the first kind of major operation you get with the full Rainbow Squad. Obviously, it's not gonna. You probably won't have access to all the operators, because imagine trying to put all of the operators over, give them all loadouts, make it so. Because I believe they've got a leveling system for operators as well. So the higher your level is with an operator, different sort of stuff you'll learn.
Yeah.
That's probably what it's on about on the league with loadouts. You level up, you get Claymore, you level up again, you've now got a Reflex, you level up again, you've got a Compensator.
Yeah, I really like progression systems like that, where
You have to unlock it. It kind of takes me back to original Siege, when you had to unlock everything with Renown. You couldn't just buy an operator and then have all the attachments. You'd have to play with iron sights, no grip, no barrel attachment. And it would really show, if you're comfortable with that operator or not.
I guess one crossover they could do is play Quarantine and get those Outbreak packs in Siege. That's probably a pre-order bonus, but...
Pre-order Quarantine now, get exclusive Yellow Man.
Get those things you missed 2 years ago.
Yeah. I feel like the only other thing that I would want from Quarantine is interchangeable skins and stuff, if they're doing skins and charms.
Yeah. I feel like because it's PvE, I feel like it would, to an extent, have to go a lot more cosmetic-based in the long run.
Yeah, which would be great, because that means then they can stop doing as many cosmetics for Siege and start putting more time towards the reworks and stuff.
Yeah.
Because that's one thing I feel like is just going out of control now is we're getting so many cosmetics in Siege.
Yeah.
Than anything else, yeah.
And it's like, you could have updated these ups like 3-4 months ago, but no, instead we got Night Haven packs. Unannounced.
So yeah, out of nowhere.
Like, I booted up Siege one day and there was a pack and I was just like, what?
What the heck is this?
Oh, hello, Buck.
Oh, hi, mate.
No, I feel like I'm happy with quarantine talks. Maybe we should go back to where we kind of want to start with this and go back into the fact that we're Xbox players and we don't want to stick to a Siege Primary podcast.
Yeah.
You guys cool with that?
Yep.
Yeah? One thing I would like to bring up is the Game Pass edition. Loaded up today and we had the first of the Final Fantasy games coming out. Final Fantasy 15 Royal Edition. And
With extras
Comrades, I believe,
added,
was
yeah.
also on there.
Yeah. It's weird because that's technically... It's basically standalone DLC because I think Comrades originally
I don't think it was... no, because they released the Final Fantasy 15 expansion Comrades, and then they released a
Yeah.
standalone title.
Yeah, that's what I
for-
mean. Is...
But, I mean, you do get literally everything with that,
Yeah.
which is good.
Even Episode Arden, which
Yeah.
I bought the Royal Edition. I have to buy Episode Arden. I don't think I'm going to be. I've still
Along
got
with,
an anime to watch.
Along with 15, we've also got Wolfenstein Youngblood. I mean, if you're a Wolfenstein fan.
Yeah, then
Yeah, I've heard
that's definitely for you.
I heard disappointing things about it.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, also, if you are a Game Pass holder and you didn't have Gold when Death Squared was released on Gold, you can play it on Game Pass now. A little puzzle game where you can play with a friend or solo. You control robots and you have to solve puzzles. Little puzzle game. Quite nice to play, actually. I did play it. Got to try everything once. And by the month's end, we will have lost Rage and Shadow of the Tomb Raider. I mean,
Rage 1?
yeah, the first Rage.
Yeah.
We'll still have Rage 2, I believe,
Yeah.
because it is only stating Rage, but we will be losing Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
But I mean, hopefully 15 is the first of all of the Final Fantasy games which they promised coming over. Because, you know, JRPGs are fun to play. If you play too much FPS, it's sometimes nice just to get a little bit of a break.
Yeah, take a stand back.
Yeah, just take a little bit of a sit down and be like, oh, turn-based combat.
I take breaks with Dark Souls.
What's your relax game? Dark Souls 2. What? But
Dark
no,
Souls Remastered.
I feel like the RPGs coming over is, especially with the Final Fantasy series, I'm just going to go out here and say it, it's hopefully going to make less people hate the series for being popular and love them for what they actually brought to the table.
Yeah.
Because I'm fed up of hearing, oh, Final Fantasy is just so popular. No, it's popular for a reason. It's not just popular. It's popular because it's got good story, good game mechanics, and a lot of the time it's something you can just play there, sitting down with your mates, you can talk to them. You know, it's one of those games that you can just sit there and go, ah, it's nice to relax at the end of the day.
Yeah. And it's nice a lot of, well... 10 came to Xbox recently, didn't it?
They all came to Xbox. I think it was... Oh god, well, I think it was all in around last March.
Yeah, so PlayStation's basically had them for forever.
Yeah.
'Cause 13 was...
It was 13 was the first one to be released on both.
Well, 11.
Oh, I'm talking like main
Yeah,
series games that are like main series
yeah.
single player.
Yeah, and I think 13 came out a year after the PS3 version as well. And then I think 13.2 onwards, they had like a dual release both at the same time.
Yeah. I understand what you're on about.
Yeah, because, I mean, Xbox is, I guess, kind of lacking RPGs by comparison.
Oh, it really is.
I mean, speaking of Lost Odyssey,
I mean, we could... hopefully that does get some sort of a
remaster.
reboot,
Yeah.
if nothing else, you know.
So, I mean, there's...
It's a good game. I feel like they could do a lot with the ring mechanic, though. That's a little bit annoying.
I think
But-
this generation, people hate a lot of remasters of, like, especially third-party games.
Yeah.
But I feel like first-party games is much needed because, well, obviously first-party. You know, I mean, Last of Us, that was like 20 frames a second, 720p.
Yeah.
Whereas now you can play it like full 60. But you know, Xbox, I mean, they remastered Halo. I can't think of anything else really that they remastered. Oh, Gears of War.
Gears of
Oh,
War, yeah.
Gears of War Ultimate Edition. Oh. We
Yeah,
need
but
more
they
games
didn't really-
that come out, and it's just...
Thing is, with Halo, though, the only change that you saw in the remaster was its graphics and the fact that they completely changed how you rank yourself in Halo.
Yeah, it
Because
was-
you used to be ranked up through credits, and now it's ranked up through like battle points.
Yeah, the Final Fantasy release, most of them came out March, April last year, same time they came out to the Switch.
Yeah. So,
Which, when you think about it, that means they've not even they've not even been on Xbox for a year yet.
yeah.
And already Microsoft are going, okay, let's give everyone a chance to play these.
It's maybe an initiative to see if Xbox players want RPGs.
Another thing that it could do with that is that it could also be a test to go, oh, maybe we could release the 7 remake on Xbox as well. It would work. Because think about it, if you get enough people playing 7, enough people playing 8, and then 9, and people are going, holy shit, what's the next one? And they're like, oh yeah, we got the 7 remake coming, and they're like, holy shit, I actually really enjoyed that one. It might have been a bit dodgy in graphics, and some of the translation was muffed, but it was a good game.
It'll be interesting because if they leave it too long without bringing it to Xbox, I mean, next gen, that's supposedly this year, next year.
Yeah.
So it's getting a bit dicey with... I mean, I know generations kind of cross over for a long time. I mean, we had Black Ops 3 on 360.
Yeah, we did.
That was 2015.
Didn't we also have Titanfall on both as well?
Yeah, the first Titanfall. That was, I think, mainly because launch
Ghosts.
Xbox sales was so bad.
Ghosts was on both as well. I feel like Black Ops 3 was only really on previous gen because at the time people weren't buying next gen because it was...
I think this generation had terrible adoption rates compared to, you know, because, I mean, PS2 to PS3 there was a massive jump, like standard definition to widescreen, 1080p, well it wasn't 1080 but, you know, even just going from like DVD to Blu-ray, you know, there's massive things you could do there.
From 360 to Xbox One, you kind of go, is it worth the jump? It was the same thing from PS3 to PS4 though. Like, you look at it and you go, well, it's great, but where's my full backwards compatibility?
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I feel like the developers are missing out on right now, is just going, okay, we need to give fan service at some point. Before we release the next gen consoles, we need to give them some sort of... That's why the Game Pass is good, because we're getting a bunch of free games. I think there's about 230 at all times now on Game Pass. 230 games at one time, and you're paying, what, £8 a month? You work that out, you're paying like 5-6p per game.
Yeah, there's a lot of really good games on there.
Yeah.
Despite a lot of the indies, which not everyone's into, but
I mean,
Really-
literally, we've just got 15 Royal Edition today on there. To buy that, I think it's like still 50-60 quid.
it
The Royal
depends.
Edition.
I know. You go digital though. All
Yeah,
the time.
but I'm talking like if you were to buy it off the Xbox store,
Yeah.
then you're still looking about 50-60 quid. Whereas you could pay £8 a month. You've got a month to play it. You've paid £8. If you haven't completed 15 in a month, you've not played it enough in that month. I mean, other than that, really, I feel like more than anything, we just need to sit and wait to see what really happens with the JRPG situation on Xbox, because
Or just RPGs in general.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. There's
Yeah,
not,
They're not
there's-
favourable on Xbox.
there's a lot of love for the FPS community.
Well, I mean, last gen, even 360 is a ton of RPGs. They're not like super well known, but
Yeah,
there is
a
a
ton,
load,
yeah.
there's a ton of hidden gems there, and it was all. I think it was all just Microsoft trying to win over Japan. but that ended up not happening, I guess, which maybe that
well,
led
yeah,
into this.
the reason for that though is because of Sony. Sony is so popular
Yeah.
over in Japan because of the Final Fantasy games.
Even Nintendo.
When 7 got denied publication from, I think it was Nintendo at the time, they went to Sony. Square went to Sony and went, right, look, fine, we're yours. We want to publish this, the 7th game in this sort of series of games, and we want to do it on your new console. And it kicked off from there.
Yeah.
7, I believe, is still the highest sales of any Final Fantasy game. I may be wrong on that. Don't quote that.
We need a fact checker.
I
That's like
believe
good
it
to get
is.
one.
I mean, you guys just talk amongst yourselves real quick whilst I check this.
So, Cheetos, what do you think?
Not what I meant.
I mean,
I don't
the
know,
releases for Game Pass. I mean, you've got Sword Art, which got released recently. That's a good RPG, but that's based on more FPS. You got Tekken. That's a good fighting game.
Yeah, I've been playing that a lot.
like you've been playing that a lot.
It's sadly a little dead on Xbox, from what we understand. I think it's
Even
seen
though
a
it's
bit
a
of
really
a
good game. Yeah, it's seen better days.
Yeah, I think it's seen a bit of a resurgence recently because of Game Pass. But I think it's not received even the past few updates. And PlayStation has, just because there's no one really playing it on Xbox prior to Game Pass.
If you like your Telltale series, there is Life is Strange 2. If you played the first one and Before the Storm, which I have, all equally good. I don't really have much to say on that, to be fair.
Yeah.
Although there's been like quite a lot added.
But, Tekken, it's weird. I honestly thought Tekken 7 was a lot more recent, but I went to look the other day and I think it came out 2015.
It did.
I think it was because of Soul Calibur 6 coming out and Dead or Alive 6. I sort of saw those, and then I remembered Tekken 7 existed, and it was like, oh, Tekken 7's also coming out. Wait, what? It's out?
Wait, what? No.
It's been out for years?
Tekken's ahead of Soul Calibur and Dead or Alive, so...
I don't know, it feels weird, because it feels like fighting games are sort of not really as popular. I feel like last generation they were releasing a lot closer to each other.
Yeah.
This gen, it's... I don't know, I could be wrong on that.
I was going to say, you saw... I would say, like, from what I saw, it was FPS and fighting games on top with 360.
But, I don't know, I mean, even with Mortal Kombat 10, I think that was like a botched launch, so that probably didn't help.
But then, obviously, MK11 last year.
Yeah.
Wasn't it? Or was it...
I think it was last year.
Last year.
I don't even know.
Still haven't played 10 or 11.
No, I haven't either.
Still haven't.
I mean, 9's great.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of older fighting games, you go back to them, they're
9
still
was phenomenal.
great to play.
Yeah, 7 is the most selling of all the Final Fantasy franchise. And then it's followed by probably the second biggest cult following game of 10.
What about 10 2?
I believe that was the 4th or 5th most selling. Surprisingly,
Is that just
13 is the 3rd most sold. Because following 10, 10-2, and 12, the fans were hoping, because they announced this as this really big, like, super, like, going back to the ATB system and everything, and so it was sold a lot, but sales don't count for reviews.
No, they don't.
But, I mean, I'm happy with how this has gone, you guys?
Yep.
Yeah?
I agree.
We all got anything else to say or announce, or want to go?
I've got nothing to add.
Nope.
No? Well, thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll hope to see you next time.
We're signing out. I don't know what to say.
Now for our sponsor, Raid Shadow Legends.
Oh, no.
Do you have a phone and take incredible amounts of time on the toilet?